Hello viewers, a very warm welcome to this session on succession planning. We have with us Mr. Rajmohan Krishnan, founder and managing director of Interest Family Office. Mr. Rajmohan Krishnan comes with 30 years of financial services experience. He set up Interest in the year 2013 to cater to the needs of various families depending on their requirements, be it investment management, be it succession planning, be it real estate, and other aspects. Mr. Rajmohan, why do you feel succession planning is an important aspect in a family's requirement?
Hari, thank you very much for having me over, and it's a very interesting topic and very close to my heart, because having been in this business for over about 30 years, I understand the need for succession. When you say succession, immediately people will be intrigued, saying, hey, what is succession all about? Why? It's a big word, succession. It's very simple. What after me? Who gets what? This is simply put as succession. And imagine, and from whatever we've been seeing in the last couple of years, and we've seen many instances where people just pass away without intimation. That means that sudden death comes into one's life. And what happens? What happens to the near and dear? What happens to the children? What happens if the head of the family is young and the kids has to grow up? Who takes care of them? Whether he has made enough money and secured it properly. Immediately some people may say, saying that, hey, I will write a will. What is a will? First, let us understand that. Because when you need to understand succession, you need to understand what is a will. And will is all about a document which says, these are the assets which I have. Could be investments, could be real estate, could be multivarious stuff, could be jewelry, could be anything for that matter. And after me, this person gets this much. Now, when does this will kick off? The will kicks off only when a person is no more. What happens when the person is no more? He will not even know whether people are agreeable to the will which is written, or in many cases we have seen coercion. We've seen people complain saying that, hey, this will was made when this guy was not in the same mind, or this guy was coerced into writing this will. And people fight among themselves. You have sibling rivalry. You have people fight saying that, hey, this property, this is not the right will. We can't agree to it. And what happens is it goes into the court. So, when you say succession, it's not just will. And internationally, if you look at it, and some of the families in India has done it pretty well. They've foreseen what could be the eventuality and how the assets needs to be transcended, to be transferred to future generations. And what all needs to be done to protect these assets. It's just not transfer. It needs to protect. And if you look at internationally, trusts were prevalent for ages, meaning it's not something which is in India. We are talking about it today, tomorrow, yesterday. We have been talking about the last 10 years, maybe. But internationally, there are trusts which are even 50 years old, 100 years old. And families have thought through this and put a trust in place. So there is a definite growing need for succession. It's a very structured way of managing one's assets. It could be real assets, it could be financial assets, where you manage it and you take care of it, and eventually it gets transferred into the right hands in a very seamless fashion. And the most important thing, unlike a will, is you oversee that succession. You oversee what happens, how it goes, how it gets distributed. so that when you're not there, you know there is a process which you have put in place which is extremely efficient, and it will eventually take care of all the needs.
Great. So the way I understand, there are two types of succession planning. A will is a basic evolution of succession planning which happens after the lifetime of a person. And trust is a more evolved form of succession planning where during the lifetime of a family it can be put into place.
Very true, you're right.
So Raj, if I were to take this one step forward, what type of family requires succession planning? And if at this juncture we were to dwell upon only trusts because it's an evolved form of succession planning, does a trust become essential only for normal families, or you feel families, special children, special adults also need to make a trust, or to which form of a family a trust is more important at this juncture? A family with special children or special adults, or a normal family? Would you throw some lights on that?
So Hari, it's not an easy question to dwell with, because succession is very important, and that's what we spoke earlier. And if you ask me which is important, it's like asking who is more important, whether this son or that son. For a parent, both are important. Likewise, though it's not exactly similar to situation what we are talking about, but everyone's problem is important for them. If I ask you what is important to you, you will say the problem which I am going through currently is most important.
True.
So succession is very, very important when it comes to transfer of wealth and managing wealth. But you asked me a very relevant question. What kind of families need succession? I would say any family which has got reasonable wealth. When I say reasonable, it could be anywhere between 5 to 10 crores plus. And it's very important to note here, if the family says, yeah, I don't have so much of money, I have only 2 crores or 3 crores, but I have a situation at home. I have a child which is differently abled. It's a special needs child. Or I have an adult at home who needs care and who can't handle his affairs on his own. Then wealth doesn't become a criteria. It's a necessity then. So as I told you, there are two things. One is, for normal families, you need a threshold because it's a structure which needs to be managed. So if the wealth is very less, like somebody who's got only 50 lakhs or 1 crore, then the amount of money you spend to managing the structure may be overwhelming. I don't think it's required. But whereas, if the family has got only 1 crore or 2 crores, but still they've got a situation at home, then 100% wealth does not become a criteria then. It becomes a necessity to set up a succession plan.
You made a very important point, Rajmohan. So, if I were to understand your statement, you are saying especially a family with special children or with special adults or a special situation, irrespective of the quantum of wealth, whether financial or could be real estate, a trust is a very important vehicle.
Very true, very true.
So does interest have any experience in setting up trust for a family with a special child or a special adult? Would you like to throw some light there?
Hari, it's like this. So I have been, to be very specific, for the last, from the year 2003 or 4, it's about 17 years, I've been dealing with succession planning. I've been advising many families about their requirements of setting up of a trust, family trust, to take care of their succession needs. So that way, I've got very in-depth experience. Apart from me, we have hired professionals from the industry who've seen life cycles of humans, who've dealt with customers, who've got these kind of needs. And to be very specific, some of them have handled, like at an operational level or at an advisory level or at a legal level, to advise clients on the trust. To be micro-specific, after starting Entrust in 2013, we have had great experiences in terms of setting up trusts. And we have never considered trust as a commodity. We ensure that clients have got a requirement for doing a good, efficient succession plan. And we customized it. And as you are aware, Entrust is all about bespoke services, extremely customized to the requirements of individuals. So we spend a lot of time understanding the family, understanding the requirements, giving the right kind of solutions. But if you look at trust, the way it is being marketed today, it's being marketed like a commodity, which we don't intend doing it. We want it to be suggested to people, the right people who requires it. And over a period of last about 6-7 years, we have encountered a lot of families coming to us with specific situations. I can give you an example. So there's a couple who came to us, and it was through a reference. And they came to us and asked, hey, I'm a professional who are almost in my sunset in terms of like I'm retired. And I've got a very small corpus. In this case, it was about 5 to 7 crores. And he said, I've got 2 kids. One kid is studying abroad. And I don't think the kid is going to come back to India. Because the kind of work what the person is doing is very, very important that the person continues to be working abroad. And he also said, I've got a child who's brilliant but specially abled. I immediately said, I would like to meet the family. We started discussing. We had several rounds of discussions. We met him, we met his wife, we had a con call with his child who was abroad. Then we went and met the special child also. We were overwhelmed. And we realized what he is talking about. And I definitely felt saying that they definitely need a succession planning vehicle, because in the eventuality of both their parents not being there, who's going to take care of the child? And definitely the child is not in a position to take care of the needs. Could be anything for that matter. Could be a medical emergency, could be going to a bank, could be drawing money, could be paying somebody, could be anything. So we said, definitely there is a need. And after knowing, saying that the other child is not going to come back, the other child also felt saying that there is a definite need for a third party, which is, in this case, Entrust, act as a corporate trustee to take care of, to not only set up the trust, to define the trust deed, and also be a corporate trustee to assume the responsibility to take care of the child as and when this kind of an emergency happens. Likewise, we have given the solution to many families. Okay, and in the last about 5-6 years, we have worked with not just special needs children or special needs families, special situation families. We have also handled with professionals who have made exceptional wealth over a period of so many years, and their kids are abroad and they're not going to come back, and they would want the wealth to be managed very efficiently, and at some point of time needs to be transferred to their dear ones without any hassles. So that way we've got very, very good experience in this.
Thank you, Rajmohan. These were wonderful insights on succession planning. The passion with which you have spoken reflects upon the reason why you set up Entrust Family Office. I'm sure trust is a subject which is very close to your heart. which is evident from your speech. Would you like to share any concluding remarks on how important this initiative is for various families?
I would definitely use this opportunity to communicate to every one of you. Hearing this talk is, don't postpone, please. People tend to postpone. People tend to say, yes, let me do it tomorrow. Let me do it day after. Let me do it maybe 5 years later. I don't think it's worthwhile. It's, after all, your hard-earned money, your loved ones, they need to be taken care. And you would have seen what happened to this globe for the last 2 years. And the kind of news which is floating around is so negative. People are talking about various pandemics, people are talking about people passing away without even notice, without even giving any, indication of their illness. Globe is becoming more and more complex. I really request you all to consider. Just please engage with an organization. It may not be interest. It may be somebody else whom you're comfortable with. But the need is real. You need to spend time. You need to understand. And it is then and now. Please don't postpone. Take that step. Start discussing within your family and also with your advisor to ensure you have a very good succession plan and tool set up for the future. Thank you very much.